Hello friends, I am Dr. Ankit Goyal, a practicing psychiatrist and your faculty for psychiatry. Today in this video, we are going to discuss important FMG August 2020 psychiatry recall questions. So let us begin. Question 1. A boy did a murder of someone and when police was arresting him, he was worried about his jacket he had left behind at the crime scene and not about his arrest by the police. What is the likely diagnosis? Options are A. Antisocial personality disorder, option B. Conduct disorder, option C. Oppositional defiant disorder, and option D. Adjustment disorder. Now, before discussing the answer, let us discuss certain key points in the question. So, there is a boy who is involved in a murder, in a crime or in an unlawful activity. A boy is involved, and when police is arresting him, he is worried more about his jacket rather than what he has done. So there seems to be no remorse or guilt about the act which he has committed. So the correct answer of this is option B, that is conduct disorder. Now let us discuss about conduct disorder. Now conduct disorder is basically a behavioral and an emotional disorder which has an onset in childhood and adolescent. It has repetitive and persistent pattern of behavior which involves violation of basic rights of others. Like in this case, he is involved in a murder, and there is violation of age appropriate societal norms and rules. Certain rules and regulations are there for the children. Now they violate those as well. Now so there is aggression towards people and animals. They are involved in bully. So they may be involved in bully or may be involved in physical fights or even with weapon use which can harm others. Like in this case, there is a murder. Now they also be involved in destruction of property like fire setting and by various other ways. They may be involved in deceitfulness or maybe in theftful activities, and they may also be involved in serious violation of rules, for example truancy. Now basically truancy is like staying away at night despite the parental prohibition, or truancy from school. Now whenever we consider truancy as a symptom of conduct disorder, then it has to have an onset. So whenever you are considering truancy in a child with conduct disorder, generally we say that it should have an onset before 13 years of age. Then it is considered as a symptom in conduct disorder. So these are important features which are seen in conduct disorder. Now the children with conduct disorder or adolescent with conduct disorder, they may lack remorse or guilt. That is, they are not guilty of their action, or they don't feel bad that they have done anything wrong, and sometimes they even have lack of empathy, no concerns about the other person. So this is what is conduct disorder. Now children with conduct disorder may proceed to even antisocial personality disorder in adulthood. Please understand that when we make a diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder, it has to be in adulthood. So that is why the correct answer to this question is conduct disorder. Now question 2. A man with history of alcohol intake presents in hospital with tremors, disorientation to time, place, person. There is auditory hallucination 2 days after stopping alcohol. What is the likely diagnosis? So the options are A. Alcoholic hallucinosis, option B. Delirium tremens, option C. Wernicke's encephalopathy, and option D. Acute psychosis. Now again, before discussing the correct answer, let us discuss certain key words given in the question. So there has been given a history of alcohol intake, and there are certain symptoms which are given to us. Tremors are there, patient is reporting of tremor. Disorientation, this is an important symptom given in the question. Auditory hallucinations, all of which seem to occur after the person has stopped taking alcohol. So these seem to be symptoms of alcohol withdrawal. So the correct answer to this question is option B, that is delirium tremens. Now let us discuss important symptoms of alcohol withdrawal. Now generally a person consuming alcohol for some time, suddenly if the person decreases or stops, so if there is sudden decrease or stop of alcohol, there are certain symptoms known as alcohol withdrawal symptoms. Now within the next 6 to 8 hours of stopping alcohol, patient may complain of tremors. Okay, so there may be tremors in the hand or even tremulousness in the entire body. If this withdrawal state continues, in the next 8 to 12 hours, there are psychotic and perceptual symptoms like alcoholic hallucinosis. So patient may complain of hallucinations. In fact, there may be auditory hallucinations. So patient may complain of auditory hallucinations and also may complain of visual hallucinations. That if the withdrawal state continues, then there are chances that by 12 to 24 hours, there may be onset of seizures. And seizures in alcohol withdrawal are generally generalized tonic-clonic seizures, and these seizures are also sometimes known as rum fits. So please understand, person is not taking alcohol, there are tremors, he may be complaining of, he may be talking to someone if even though there is no one there, or seeing things which are not around, that is there is hallucination, then he may also develop generalized tonic-clonic seizure. And if it continues and if the alcohol withdrawal are severe, it may ultimately lead to, within next to 48 to 72 hours, may land up into delirium tremens, which is in fact a medical emergency. Delirium tremens is a medical emergency, as if untreated, the mortality is as high as 20%, and even with treatment, the mortality may still remain up to 5%. Now, generally, the characteristics of delirium involve impairment of consciousness, and as given by in the question, there is disorientation. So disorientation again is pointing towards delirium tremens, so that the patient now is in the state of delirium. So delirium tremens because of alcohol withdrawal. So the correct answer is delirium tremens. Question 3. A patient with regular alcohol consumption presents with neurological symptoms. Which of the following vitamin deficiency may be the cause of symptoms? Options are A, vitamin A, B, vitamin B1, C, vitamin B12, and D, vitamin B6. Now again, alcohol is a very important topic. Okay, now let's discuss certain key words in the question. So basically, because of chronic alcohol consumption, there are certain neurological symptoms which develop. So as we normally discuss in our classes, so the correct answer to this is option B, that is vitamin B1. So let us discuss the various neurological symptoms, or what we call alcohol induced neurocognitive disorders. So chronic use of alcohol can lead to certain neurocognitive disorders. The first which we are going to discuss is Wernicke's encephalopathy. Now the onset is sudden, or there is an acute onset of symptoms which can be remembered by the mnemonic GOA. So there are triad of symptoms of global confusion, there is ophthalmoplegia and ataxia. Again, if you are given such questions clinically, you may be given a history that person is appearing confused, there is deviation of eyes, there is history of fall, patient is not able to walk properly. So again, all these symptoms tell us that probably person is suffering from Wernicke's encephalopathy, which occur because of deficiency of thiamine, that is vitamin B1. Now, how does deficiency of thiamine occur in a patient with alcohol use? Now, since a person is chronically consuming alcohol, it may be because of nutritional deficiency. So person is involved so much in the use of alcohol that he is not taking proper nourishment. And also, now alcohol is a gut irritant. Now it may lead to erosion of the mucosa and lead to poor absorption of minerals, of vitamins like vitamin B1. Okay, now important are the areas which may be involved. So in areas like thalamus, mammillary bodies, midline cerebellum, these are important areas which may be involved in Wernicke's encephalopathy. And the treatment, now please remember that symptoms of Wernicke's encephalopathy are reversible. So once we treat, the symptoms may revert to normal, and generally since there is thiamine deficiency, so we give thiamine. Now next important disorder is Korsakoff psychosis. So the second important neurocognitive disorder is Korsakoff psychosis. Now it has a chronic onset, it's a chronic sequelae in fact to Wernicke's encephalopathy, wherein there is complaint of amnesia. So there are symptoms of amnesia, that is there is loss of memory. So and more anterograde loss is more than retrograde. So anterograde amnesia is more common or more than retrograde amnesia. And another important symptom here is confabulation. So what is confabulation? Confabulation is basically filling the memory gaps by false stories. So person is not able to remember certain things and he then tries to fill those memory gaps with false stories. And there may be other types of learning also involved, like impairment in visuospatial, abstract learning and other types. Again, the cause remains the same. So the cause is again there is deficiency of vitamin B1 or thiamine. Important structures involved in Korsakoff psychosis include medial thalamic nuclei, mammillary bodies and hippocampus. These are the important structures which are involved. Now, just like we discussed, the Wernicke's encephalopathy is reversible. The symptoms are reversible. So, but as compared to that, Korsakoff is irreversible. Some symptoms may continue to remain. So, it is irreversible. And again the treatment is thiamine. So initially we may start with parenteral route like IV or IM, and gradually we may shift to oral route, which may continue for months together. So these are two important alcohol induced neurocognitive disorders caused by thiamine deficiency. Now, fourth question: a person eats food by arranging it in pieces and take very small equal bites each time, spending a lot of time eating his meal. Which of the following is the likely diagnosis? Options are A. Anorexia nervosa, B. Obsessive compulsive disorder, C. Panic disorder, D. Generalized anxiety disorder. Now again it's a tricky question maybe, because the options which are given may confuse us. So let us see the important key points in the question which will help us to reach to a diagnosis. So someone is eating food by arranging it into small pieces and take very small equal bites. This is very important, that the bites which the person is taking is equal. So, and which is leading to spending a lot of time in this activity. So it seems person is doing something with a lot of precision, with a lot of symmetry, which is leading to slowness, which is leading to a lot of time being spent. So the correct answer, now look, there is an eating disorder given in the option, so it may seem like okay something about anorexia may be asked, but no, the correct answer is option B, obsessive compulsive disorder. Now what is obsessive compulsive disorder? Now obsessions are basically repetitive and intrusive. There are repetitive and intrusive, these are thoughts, images or impulses. So patient may have repetitive and intrusive thoughts, so patient is having recurrent thoughts, or there may be images which are occurring, or impulses or sudden urges which are occurring again and again and are causing anxiety. Please remember that these patient recognize as his own. The patient says that I know that these are my own thoughts, images or impulses, and also these are perceived as irrational. I know that these are irrational, these are not making any sense, these are senseless, but he tries to resist, but he is not able to resist them, so he's unsuccessful in resisting them. So this is how we define an obsession. Now while a compulsion, what is a compulsion? It is a repetitive behavior. So these are either behavioral acts or acts done mentally. So it may be mental acts, person is counting something in the mind, so it can be an act, behavior, or it can manifest as a mental act that person performs in response to a obsession. Now compulsive act may be carried out in an attempt to reduce anxiety. Since there is a lot of anxiety because of obsessions, person tries to reduce that, but again he is not successful, he does not succeed in doing so. This is compulsion. Now for example, let us discuss with an example. So example is, let us say the most common in fact obsession is obsession of contamination. So in obsession of contamination, person gets repetitive thoughts, intrusive thoughts that my hands are dirty or things around me are dirty. Patient acknowledges these thoughts as his own. He says, yes, I know that these are my own thoughts, and also acknowledge them that these are senseless. He says, I know these are senseless because I know that these are senseless, because I know that, look, my hands are not dirty, I know that, but I am not able to resist them. So these thoughts are continuously occurring, person is not able to resist. So ultimately the person may start do certain things to decrease this anxiety. So he may be doing certain behaviors like washing. So what the person may do, he may go out and wash hand a lot of time. But please understand that after even washing, that anxiety or those thoughts don't go away. They continue to be there. So sometimes we have patients who may spend hours together just washing their hands. Family members will say they take one soap at a time and completely wash it, and then they may require another soap. So this is how severe obsessive compulsive disorder may be. Now another example is, again, obsession is need for symmetry or precision. So person may have thoughts that everything should be in a symmetry, or everything should be done in a lot of precision. And if person has to do a task, they may take a lot of time doing it with so much symmetry, and sometimes so much so that they may take a lot of time. So the compulsion is when person is arranging things in symmetry, or the person activity becomes slow, known as compulsion of slowness. Now for example, they may spend a lot of time eating meals, just like in this case. The person is arranging everything, the person is eating in equal pieces of bites. So that means the person is doing everything in precision. There is a need for symmetry and doing symmetrically as a compulsive behavior. So the answer was OCD. Now, please remember, when we say anorexia nervosa, the clinical features of anorexia nervosa should be seen in the case, which were not given. So symptoms like there is a disturbance of body image. Person feels herself, as it is more common in females, so person may feel herself that I am very fat, although the person may be very, very thin. Then there is fear, excessive fear of being fat or getting fat, which leads to restriction of energy rich food intake, leading to decrease in the weight. So these all features should be given in the question, so then we will make a diagnosis of anorexia nervosa. Please understand that even in anorexia nervosa there are certain peculiar behaviors about food. For example, they may hide food all over the house, or they may cut meals in small pieces, just to buy time, just showing that they are eating, but they may not necessarily eat because they would feel that by eating they will gain weight. So but this cutting, or this small pieces of cutting the food or the meal, it's not necessarily has to be equal in these cases. So while in OCD we know that things are done in a symmetry. So this is the catch, okay? And they may spend then time just rearranging the food as if they are eating, but they may not actually eat. So this is anorexia nervosa. Question 5. A 15-year-old girl, after failing in her exams, and she started hearing voices about her since few days, and started doubting that her teachers have conspired against her. What is the likely diagnosis? So the options are A, acute psychosis, B, delirium, C, delusional disorder, and D, schizophrenia. Now again, before coming to the answer, let us discuss certain key important points. Now there is an incidence, or we can say there is a stressor given that the girl has failed in her exams. She is hearing voices abusing her. What is the symptom? So whenever we get some such questions, always try to see what symptoms are given. So these are suggestive of hallucinations. So the girl is having hallucinations, she is hearing voices, and also she started doubting about her teachers have conspired against her. So what is the symptom? This is a delusion. So girl is having delusions and hallucinations, and very, very important is the time duration, since few days. So it seems like very, very less time, or maybe just few days since when the symptoms are occurring. So there are psychotic symptoms and which are occurring started just few days back. So the correct answer is option A, acute psychosis. Now, so acute psychosis or acute psychotic disorders, basically these are symptoms similar to schizophrenia, but the important thing is that they don't fulfill the duration criteria. The duration criteria, we know in DSM-5 we say the symptom more than 6 months with 1 month of at least active symptom, and ICD-10 we know symptoms should be at least for 1 month. Okay, so these do not fulfill the criteria, duration criteria, but are similar. So we have seen that there are delusions and hallucinations seen. Now please remember this, that frequently these may be preceded or precipitated by a stressor. Very important. So these stressors can be psychological stressors like a stressful life event, as in this case the girl failed in her exam, and it could also be physiological stressor like a fever. Very important. Please remember this. Why I am saying so? Because see, in one of the options in the question is B, delirium. Now sometimes what happen, let us say if rather than failing in her exams, let us say, rather than failing in the exam, they may say, okay, the girl had fever and after that she developed symptom. Now, when we hear fever, when we see fever, we seem to think of organic causes and we may think of delirium. But please remember, for delirium there has to be impairment in consciousness, which is not given in the question. So that rules out even delirium. So again, please remember, there can be stressors like a physiological or a psychological stressor, and generally they have an abrupt onset like in this case, and most, a lot of time they resolve completely. Acute psychotic disorders in ICD-10, if the symptoms are present for less than 1 month, we call it as acute and transient psychotic disorder. And in DSM-5, if the symptoms are less than 1 month, we call it as brief psychotic disorder. If the symptoms last between 1 to 6 months, we call it as schizophreniform disorder. So these are the names used in ICD-10 and DSM-5. Okay. So guys, if you've liked our video, please like and subscribe our YouTube channel, Dr. Ankit Goyal, MD Psychiatry, and do comment in the section below and tell us the topics which you want us to make videos for the future. You can also join in our Facebook group Psychiatry by Dr. Ankit Goyal, our Telegram group, and also can follow on Instagram. Thank you for watching the video. All the best, and let's keep going.